Hi, it's Jack here at System Trader, and in this very short video I'm going to present to you why time really matters when we are talking about investments. It very often happens that as investors we think in a very short-term perspective. We don't appreciate what we can achieve long-term, but we tend to overestimate what we can achieve in short-term. And I think that this is very bad, and I think it's very helpful to look on this from a different perspective. But to make this material practical, I'll show some real examples. And to present these examples more, let's say, easy to understand, we will use some real portfolio. And for that purpose, I will use the portfolio which is called Golden Butterfly. And although personally I'm not a big fan of that particular portfolio, that doesn't really matter in that video, because in fact what matters is that we have some plan for our investment, and that plan is long-term investment. And this particular portfolio is built of 5 ETFs. We have S&P 500, we have American small cap value stocks, we have 10 and 30-year government bonds, and we have gold in our portfolio. And each ETF, each asset has weight of 20%. So that's very simple portfolio. There's no magic pill, but we can see that such portfolio really works long term. And we have here an example of one investor who started his investment in 1986, and he said that he's going to start with $10,000 capital, and for each subsequent year he's going to add $10,000 more, and that his investment perspective is 35 years. And by the end of 2020, he has on his account $2.4 million. So he put, within 35 years, $360,000, and still he managed to accumulate $2.4 million on his account. So I think that this is a pretty nice amount of money if he wants to retire. And let's say that he was 25 years old when he started his investment. So when he's 60 years old, he can retire, and no matter what pension he will get from the state, he has its own capital at the level of $2.4 million. And if he will take 3 or 4% each year from that account, he can easily survive, and he doesn't have to worry about money till the end of his life. And most likely he will have more money when his life will end, and that he will give money to his kids or charity or whatever he wants to do with his money when he leaves from this world. We have also another example of an investor who said that he's going to start investment later, and rather than do it at the age of 25 years, he started his investment when he was 30 years old, but he also wanted to invest only till his 60s. So when he reaches his 60 years, he wants to retire, and he would like to have the same amount of money. And he also puts 10,000 as an initial amount to his portfolio, and then he is going to add more money in subsequent years. And although he will invest only for 5 years less than the first investor, he will have to add each year not $10,000 in order to have the same amount of money at the end, but $18,000 each year to get the same amount at the end of the investment what the first investor had. So basically 80% more money each year he needs to put aside, just only because he started his investment 5 years later, and that his time horizon for his portfolio is 5 years shorter. So I think that this 5 years is a great example of how compounding works, because the sooner we will start, the better for us. Because even if in our, let's say, early years, we don't put aside a lot of money, but we already have some seed capital, which is growing, which is making money, money which are making another money, and so on and so on. Therefore, that's a very great example that we can save, we can put aside even $8,000 less each year if we start our investment sooner. And it doesn't have to mean that saving and investing means that we have to live in poverty just to wait for that moment when we will retire. That's not true. And I think that if we take this first investor here, he was investing from 1986, and we will see the performance of his portfolio with initial 10,000 up to almost $2.5 million. That's amazing. That person doesn't have to be very knowledgeable about investing, doesn't have to run a successful business. The only thing which is required, although I'm not saying easy, is to put aside $10,000 with discipline each year, plus have a plan how to invest that money. And in our case, that's a very simple portfolio, golden butterfly, which consists 5 ETFs. It can be done even simpler, but just for the sake of example, I use that portfolio. So my message is that if you are a young person, I know that no one thinks about retirement because that would be unhealthy, but it's very responsible from our side if we think to put aside money regularly and put them into investment, which is based on verified plan, like, for example, simple passive portfolio here. And if you are looking for other ideas how to find such plan, you can use my software. There are over 40 built-in ready-to-use portfolios based on which you can inspire, or you can build your own portfolio, or you can even use one of these portfolios, or you can build from scratch your own portfolio and then verify it based on even 50 or 100 years of history, which gives you some insight how your investment may look in the future. So really, I encourage you to think about your future as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your attention, and bye-bye.